As a single father, frantically attempting to reconstruct his existence for his 6-year-old girl, Daniel at last got the employment meeting that might alter their destiny permanently. But en route there, he discovered a youthful lady stuck next to a faulty vehicle on a desolate highway, terrified and utterly isolated. Assisting her signified forfeiting his sole opportunity at a steady existence. Departing implied abandoning her in peril. Daniel selected benevolence and skipped the meeting. What he didn't realize was her real identity and how this minor gesture of empathy would flip his whole universe inverted. Daniel arose prior to sunrise, although he hadn't truly rested. He'd been gazing at the roof for hours, rehearsing responses to queries he'd learned from engineering interview preparation websites. His daughter Lily remained asleep in the adjacent chamber, her tiny inhalations scarcely audible via the slim apartment barriers. He positioned himself in the washroom, tweaking his necktie for the 5th occasion. It was an aged tie, one he donned to his previous genuine job interview 3 years prior, back when his spouse was still living. Back when he still trusted matters would resolve if he simply endeavored sufficiently. The outfit didn't suit quite correctly anymore. He'd shed pounds. Not the positive type. The type that originated from omitting meals so Lily could have extras. His mobile vibrated on the surface. He recognized who it was before he glanced. "Daniel, are you awake?" His mother's tone was piercing, even via the speaker. "You can't arrive tardy today. You comprehend that, don't you?" Daniel held the device away from his ear and inhaled deeply. "I'm awake, Mom. I've been awake." "Good, because this is your opportunity. Your sole opportunity. Lily requires stability. She requires a dad who can supply." "I know. Then don't ruin it." There was a pause of quiet. "Your father would have ensured he was prepared a week earlier." The connection ended. Daniel proceeded into Lily's space and knelt beside her mattress. She was coiled under a slender cover, grasping a plush bunny with one ear absent. "Hey, darling. Time to arise." Lily moved, blinking up at him with drowsy eyes. "Is it school day?" "Yeah, kiddo. But Mrs. Patterson's going to collect you today. Recall? I've got something crucial." Lily sat up abruptly. "The job matter." Daniel grinned. "The job matter." She flung her arms around his neck. "You're going to obtain it, Daddy. I know you are." He embraced her for a moment longer than needed. "I hope so, Lil. I really do." An hour afterward, Daniel was on the highway. The meeting was at 10 o'clock. It was 8:15. Harmon Engineering was 40 minutes distant if traffic cooperated. He'd charted 3 alternate paths the evening before. Everything was organized. Everything was managed. Then the freeway halted advancing. Daniel observed the row of brake lights extend ahead of him and sensed his chest constrict. He examined his phone. 8:32. He could still arrive, but the vehicles didn't budge. 5 minutes. 10:15. At 8:50, Daniel maneuvered onto the edge and took the subsequent exit. He knew a secondary path that sliced through the industrial area. It would trim at least 10 minutes. He veered onto the slim road, speeding past storage buildings and wire fences. The path was vacant. No congestion, no holdups. He was going to succeed. Then he noticed the vehicle. It was a stylish black sedan, pulled partially onto the gravel edge, warning lights flashing. The bonnet was raised, and standing beside it, arms enveloped around herself, was a young woman in a professional outfit and heels, appearing entirely misplaced on this overlooked segment of road. Daniel's foot lingered over the accelerator. He should continue driving. There was no time. This was his one chance. If he halted, he'd be delayed. If he was delayed, he'd forfeit everything. But the woman appeared frightened. Daniel reduced speed. He pulled over and exited. The woman pivoted toward him, surprised. Her eyes were crimson, like she'd been weeping. "Hey," Daniel shouted, maintaining his space. "You all right?" She gazed at him like she wasn't certain whether to believe him. "My car failed. I don't know what occurred. It just ceased." Daniel glanced at the sedan. "Costly. Did you contact someone?" "My phone's drained. I've been here for 20 minutes and no one halted." Daniel checked his watch. 8:58. He had an hour and 2 minutes. "Do you understand anything about vehicles?" she inquired. Daniel approached and inspected under the hood. It took him less than a minute to identify the issue. "Your battery wire loosened. It's a simple repair." Her face overflowed with relief. "Can you repair it?" Daniel calculated. 5 minutes to reconnect the wire. Maybe 10 if he was cautious. That left him 40 minutes. It would be close, but he could still succeed. "Yeah," Daniel stated. "I can repair it." He seized a toolkit from his trunk. His hands operated swiftly, securing the wire back into position, verifying the links. The woman stood nearby, observing him with appreciation. "You're a rescuer," she said. Daniel cleaned his hands on an old cloth. "Attempt starting it now." She slid into the driver's seat and twisted the key. The motor revved to life. She stepped back out, smiling for the first time. "Thank you. Truly? Can I offer you a lift somewhere?" Daniel shook his head. "I'm fine. I've got my vehicle." "Are you certain? Where are you directed?" "Job meeting." Her look changed. "When?" 10 o'clock. She glanced at her watch, then back at him. "You should depart immediately." "I will." Daniel shut her hood and retreated. "Drive securely." She paused like she desired to say something else, but Daniel was already returning to his car. He had 37 minutes. He arrived at Harmon at 10:23. The receptionist glanced up when he entered, red-faced and breathless. "Name?" "Daniel Foster." "I had a meeting at 10 o'clock. She looked at her monitor. "Mr. Beer, Harrison doesn't meet applicants who arrive delayed. Firm rule." Daniel sensed the ground vanish. "I was aiding someone. There was in crisis." "I'm sorry." "There's nothing I can do." Daniel remained there, staring at the shiny marble floors, at the glass partitions that divided him from the existence he'd been so near to seizing. He desired to dispute. He desired to plead, but he knew it wouldn't count. He pivoted and exited. In the lot, he sat in his vehicle and gazed at nothing. His phone vibrated. He didn't need to check to know it was his mother. He responded. "Well," she said. Daniel shut his eyes. "I didn't obtain it." There was an extended quiet. Then his mother's voice emerged low and chilly. "What occurred?" "I was delayed." "Delayed? Daniel? How could you be delayed? This was the most vital day of your life." "I know." "Then what occurred?" Daniel's jaw clenched. "I halted to aid someone." His mother's tone intensified. "You halted, Daniel. Do you grasp what you just discarded? Do you grasp what this signifies for Lily?" "I know what it signifies. You have to perform better. You have to be tougher. Lily needs a father she can rely on." "I have to depart," Daniel said softly. "Don't disconnect on me." Daniel terminated the call. He sat there in silence, the burden of everything bearing down on him, the skipped meeting, his mother's voice resounding in his head. And beneath it all, the picture of that woman standing by the edge of the road, scared and isolated. He'd made a decision, and now he was suffering for it. 3 days afterward, Daniel was positioned on a building location in steel-toed footwear and a helmet, transporting concrete blocks in the August warmth. It wasn't the profession he'd prepared for, wasn't the tomorrow he'd envisioned, but it was a salary. His boss, a weathered guy named Ray, approached and passed him a water container. "You managing okay, Foster?" Daniel affirmed. "Yeah, I'm fine." re-examined him. "You don't appear like a building worker." "I'm not, but I require the employment." Ray grunted. "Reasonable enough. Just maintain your focus low. You'll perform well." That evening, he collected Lily from Mrs. Patterson's residence and prepared her supper. Pasta with butter. It was all they had remaining until salary day. Lily glanced up at him. "Did you obtain the job, Daddy?" Daniel compelled a grin. "Not that one, kiddo. But I obtained a different one. We're going to be fine," Lily affirmed, content. Later, after Lily was asleep, Daniel sat on the sofa and gazed at his phone. His mother had contacted twice more. He hadn't responded. He pondered about the woman on the edge of the road. He wondered if she even recalled him. He didn't remorse halting, but he couldn't dismiss the sensation that he just exchanged his tomorrow for a stranger's ease. And now he had to endure with that. The building location became Daniel's fresh reality. Every morning at 6 o'clock, he'd deliver Lily to school and spend the next 10 hours shifting supplies, blending cement, or ascending scaffolding amid weather that oscillated between scorching heat and abrupt showers. His physique adjusted quicker than his thoughts. The sores on his hands solidified into rough skin. But every time he swung a mallet or transported steel rods, a tiny voice reminded him that he'd invested for years in university, so he wouldn't have to do this. He disregarded the voice. He didn't have the privilege of self-sympathy. 2 weeks into the employment, his mother contacted again. Daniel was seated in his vehicle during lunch interval, consuming a sandwich created from the final bread and some deli meat that was a day beyond the expiration date. He saw her name on the display and almost didn't respond, but he did. "Hi, Mom." "Daniel." Her voice was abrupt. "I've been attempting to contact you. I've been laboring." "Doing what precisely?" Daniel took a nibble of his sandwich and masticated gradually. "Building." There was extended quiet. Then his mother said, "Building? Yeah, you have an engineering qualification, Daniel. You're laboring building. It compensates the expenses." "Scarcely, I'm certain." His mother's tone intensified. "Is this what you want Lily to witness? Her father discarding his education to perform physical toil?" Daniel kept his voice steady. "It's legitimate work, Mom. Your father was an engineer. A genuine engineer. He supplied for his family. He didn't accept less because he couldn't bother to endeavor harder. I'm doing my utmost." "Your utmost isn't sufficient. It hasn't been sufficient for a long time." The connection ended. That evening, Lily inquired why he appeared so exhausted. They were seated at the small kitchen table, and she was sketching while Daniel settled bills on his computer. The figures didn't balance. They never did. "Just a lengthy day, darling," Daniel said. Lily glanced up at him with those large, grave eyes that reminded him so much of her mother. "Grandma says you labor too intensely." Daniel felt a surge of annoyance, but didn't display it. Instead, he grinned. "Grandma frets excessively." Lily returned to her sketching. She said, "You used to be really intelligent, like with numbers and science and stuff." Daniel extended over and tousled her hair. "I'm still fairly intelligent, kiddo." "Then why aren't you doing intelligent people labor?" The query struck like a blow. Sometimes intelligent people do all sorts of labor. What counts is caring for the people you adore. Lily seemed content with that. 3 weeks afterward, re-informed Daniel they were relocating to a new location, a large one. Corporate offices in the city center, the type of project that had financiers and designers strolling around in costly outfits. Daniel didn't mind. It was just another employment. But when he reached the location on Monday morning, something felt distinct. The place was enormous. 20 levels, all glass and metal. There were guards at the entry. Cameras everywhere. And parked near the primary trailer was a row of black SUVs with darkened windows. Ray noticed Daniel and signaled him over. "Big day today. Foster. We've got the leaders arriving through. Try not to appear like a mess. Daniel glanced down at his grimy pants and work boots. I'll do my utmost. Reed chuckled. Just keep your focus low and stay clear of their path. Around mid-morning, the SUVs arrived. Daniel was on the third level assisting unload wallboard from a cargo lift when he heard the disturbance below. Voices. The snap of heels on cement. He didn't heed. He had 6 more panels of wallboard to shift. Then Ray's voice crackled over the intercom. All team, attention. Executive group is on location. Remain professional. Daniel continued laboring. 10 minutes afterward, the lift doors opened and a cluster of people emerged. 4 men in custom suits and 1 woman. She was younger than the others, mid-30s perhaps. Dark hair drawn back in a smooth ponytail, a gray jacket over a white shirt. Daniel glanced at her for half a second, then returned to the wallboard, but she was gazing at him. He sensed it before he observed it. He pivoted, and their eyes connected. And then he identified her. It was the woman from the edge of the road. Daniel stiffened. She was gazing at him too, her look shifting from business-like aloofness to astonishment. Then she advanced. "Pardon me," she said, her voice slicing through the clamor. The team around Daniel halted laboring. Returned to view what was occurring. The woman approached straight to Daniel. "You're the man who assisted me." Daniel placed the wallboard down cautiously. "Yeah, I recall." She didn't grin, but her look eased. "I never obtained your name." "Daniel Foster." "Victoria Hayes." She offered her hand, and Daniel clasped it. Her hold was strong. "I owe you in regret." Daniel blinked. "For what?" "You informed me you had a job meeting. I didn't comprehend how vital it was. And due to me, you missed it." Daniel felt the pressure of every gaze on the level. "It's okay. You required assistance." Victoria shook her head. "It's not okay. I've been pondering it ever since that day. You forfeited something crucial to aid a total stranger." Victoria pivoted to one of the men beside her. "I need to converse with Mr. Foster confidentially." The man scowled. "Ms. Hayes, we're on a timetable. I'll join later." Her tone permitted no debate. The leaders swapped looks, then proceeded toward the lift. Ray accompanied them. When they were solitary, Victoria turned back to Daniel. "Inform me what occurred. After you assisted me, did you reach the meeting?" Daniel paused. "I was 23 minutes delayed. They wouldn't meet me." Victoria's jaw clenched. "What firm?" "Harmon Engineering," she affirmed slowly. "And now you're laboring here." "I required a job." This was open. "Do you have a family? A daughter?" "She's 6. Victoria gazed at him for an extended moment. Then she said, "I'm the CEO of this firm, Hayes Construction Group. This structure you're laboring on? It's ours." Daniel didn't know what to utter. "I want to assist you," Victoria proceeded. "The way you assisted me." Daniel shook his head. "You don't owe me anything." "Perhaps not, but I want to do it regardless." She reached into her jacket and extracted a business card. "Come to my office tomorrow." 9 o'clock. Daniel accepted the card. It was substantial, imprinted. "What for?" he inquired. Victoria grinned. "To provide you a second opportunity." Then she pivoted and proceeded back to the lift. Ray returned minutes afterward, smiling. "What the heck was that about?" Daniel tucked the card into his pocket. "I have no clue." That evening, Daniel couldn't rest. He kept flipping the business card over in his hands, reading the name Victoria Hayes, CEO. The following morning, Daniel drove to the city center. Hayes Construction Group's main office was a 15-story structure with floor-to-ceiling panes and an entrance that appeared like something from a publication. He felt misplaced the instant he entered. The receptionist glanced up. "Can I assist you?" "Daniel Foster. I'm here to meet Miss Hayes." The receptionist examined her computer, then affirmed. She's anticipating you. 15th level. Daniel took the lift up, his heart thumping. When the doors opened, he entered a smooth corridor with shiny wood floors and contemporary art on the walls. A youthful woman welcomed him. "Mr. Foster, accompany me, please." She guided him to a corner office with a vista that extended across the whole metropolis. Victoria was positioned by the pane. She pivoted when he arrived. "Daniel, thank you for arriving." He stepped inside. "I wasn't certain if you were genuine." Victoria motioned to a seat. "Sit, please." Daniel sat. Victoria took the chair opposite him, not behind her desk. "I want to listen to your tale," she said. "All of it." So he informed her. He informed her about losing his spouse, about nurturing Lily alone, about the months of joblessness and the accumulating debts. He informed her about his mother's perpetual dissatisfaction, the manner she evaluated him against a man he could never match. He informed her about the calls and the remorse and the nights when he couldn't rest. And he informed her about the day he halted to assist her, about the decision he'd made, about the cost he'd paid. When he concluded, Victoria didn't utter anything for an extended time. Then she said, "You surrendered everything to assist me, and I didn't even know your name." Daniel shook his head. "I made a decision. That's on me." "No," Victoria stated resolutely. "You made a decision because you're a decent individual, and decent individuals shouldn't be penalized for doing the correct thing." She arose and proceeded to her desk, extracting a folder. "I made some contacts. Harmon Engineering still has that role available, and I happen to know the CEO. He owes me a favor." Daniel's chest constricted. "What are you stating?" Victoria passed him the folder. Inside was a printed message and request to interview for the same role. "I'm stating you're obtaining another attempt," Victoria said, "if you desire it." Daniel gazed at the document, his hands quivering. "Why would you do this?" Victoria sat back down. "Because you didn't abandon me on the edge of the road when you had every motive to. Because you placed someone else's security ahead of your own tomorrow." Daniel didn't know what to utter. "There's one stipulation," Victoria added. Daniel glanced up. "You have to succeed the interview on your own. I can unlock the door, but you have to proceed through it." Daniel affirmed slowly. "When? Friday?" 2 days from now." Daniel gazed down at the folder again. "Thank you." Victoria grinned. "Don't thank me yet. Just proceed there and demonstrate them what you're capable of." Daniel departed the office feeling lighter than he had in months. But by the time he arrived home that evening, the dread had established. What if he wasn't adequate? What if he flopped again? He contacted his mother without pondering. "You have another meeting?" she said when he informed her at Harmon. "Yeah, this Friday." There was an extended quiet. Then his mother said, "Don't elevate your expectations, Daniel. You know how these matters proceed." Daniel felt the air depart his lungs. "What's that supposed to signify?" "It signifies you've been let down before. And I don't want to witness you collapse again when it doesn't succeed." "It might succeed. It might not." His mother's voice mellowed, but the words still wounded. "I'm just attempting to safeguard you. You can't afford to flop again." Daniel disconnected without saying farewell. He sat on the sofa gazing at the folder and pondered if his mother was correct. Maybe he wasn't adequate. But then he pondered about Lily, about the way she gazed at him like he could accomplish anything. And he pondered about Victoria, about the way she'd gazed at him in that office, not with sympathy, but with optimism. He opened the folder and began preparing. Friday arrived quickly. Daniel delivered Lily to school, donned the same tie, and drove to Harmon for the second time. This time, he was 15 minutes premature. The receptionist identified him. "Daniel Foster, I have an interview at 10 o'clock." She examined her computer and affirmed. Mr. Harrison will meet you shortly. Daniel sat in the waiting zone, his hands clasped, attempting to maintain his breathing stable. His phone vibrated. A message from his mother. Good fortune, but recall what I said. Daniel switched the phone off. 20 minutes afterward, he was seated across from Mr. Harrison responding queries about load-bearing computations and thermal performance and project schedules. His hands didn't quiver. His voice didn't falter because he knew precisely what he was discussing. When the interview concluded, Mr. Harrison clasped his hand. "We'll contact you." Daniel exited, entered his truck, and sat there for extended time. He didn't know if he'd obtained